Hello. Hello.
And here on Brewhouse Tavern, we homebrew just about anything from an entire world to a blade of grass and anything in between. And today we're continuing our world weaver process. And we've started a new world just last week. Um, we've, um, yeah. So tell us where we've gotten so far, Jeff.
Sure. So World Weaver, as Randy was mentioning, is kind of our. We're using ChatGPT to build custom D&D worlds or TTRPG worlds in general. It's a multi-phase process that we kind of work through and use different role tables and some different creative prompts, taking turns, and kind of sort of gamifying the process of world building and making it a collaborative process that we can do between ourselves and as well as anybody in the chat. We welcome you to join and be a part of the decisions that we make for making this world. So it's split into 6 different phases, and we are currently on phase 1, which is a phase where we set the genre and the tone of the world, as well as start establishing some of the big historical events. And so that's what we did last time was we started setting the genre, which our genre is kind of a high fantasy, what's called what ChatGPT kind of called the Shattered Realm, which we're going with for now. We may change that later. But it's a world that was kind of once a great empire, but now it's been broken into different rival city states. And each empire, each realm thinks it's kind of the true heir of the old empire itself. They're still connected to each other, but there's definitely some conflict there, which we haven't figured out yet because we haven't got that far in the history. But our tone that we have is a mysterious and layered tone. So underneath all of this, there's secrets and forgotten histories and competing truths, which we started to see a little bit of that even within our first historical event. And so after we got our genre and tone, we moved on to getting our first historical event, which you can see on the screen right now is the Empire's Fall. And it really was that this 12th emperor, who's the, as you can see here, the keystone of the empire's magic, he issued a final edict that should the 13th dawn arise, remember me, and then he vanished soon after, leaving no heir. And the magic that sustained the empire's infrastructure weakened, causing it to collapse. And legend claims that he still lives, but disguised among commoners, and his love is the last anchor of his humanity. Um, and so that's where we kind of ended with our starting of this new world. And tonight we plan to continue on with more historical events. Usually when we do this, we try to lay out about like at least 10 historical events. So we'll see how far we get tonight and see what we come up with and see if that changes the name of our world from Shattered Realms to maybe something different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of TBD name for now. And yeah, so the way the game plays is basically ChatGPT here will give us roll tables that will kind of be our engine for sparking our creativity, and then Jeff and I or our chat friends will help us to sort of hammer out more details about it. As Jeff said, we already have our first thing, the Empire's Fall. That's going to set probably our ABVC sort of time frame, and so let's go on to try the second event. So let's go to ChatGPT. All right, so here we've got 3 players in the game: myself and Jeff, and then Legend Keeper is the third. Legend Keeper is our placeholder for in the chat. So when we've got someone in here who wants to be a contributor, you'll take the place of Legend Keeper. But for now, let's see. With the fall of the Empire recorded, the shattering the birth age of city-states, now next event will reveal what rose from the ruins, the first attempt to reclaim exist to repurpose what the Empire left behind. So here's our roll table. But since we got no one in the chat, Jeff, let's just have a read through each of these and see what we like.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Let's see. So first one, we got the Binding Wars. Warlords and sorcerers fought to control fragments of the Empire's remaining magical infrastructure. I mean, that sounds like the most logical outcome of what's happened here.
Right.
Number 2, the Great Exodus populations fled the dying heartlands, founding the city-states that would later define the Shattered Realm. Okay. And the Quiet Plague, a slow creeping malady spread wherever Imperial magic once flowed strongest, killing none but turning all afflicted silent. Concord of Ash, survivors of the Imperial capital gathered to form a fragile council that attempted to preserve knowledge and peace. Weeping Sky, celestial phenomenon began. The heavens rained strange silver for 13 days, birthing myths of divine sorrow. It's kind of like that one. And then number 6, the rise of the 12 houses. So 12 noble bloodlines, each claiming kinship to the vanished emperor, emerged and seized power across the continent. And so 6 and 1 are sort of your, what everyone would expect.
Hmm?
What do you think of the others? Anything that really strikes you?
I mean, I do like the expected, right? The 1 and the 6. I wouldn't mind putting those two together and going with that. The Weeping Sky is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it would give some there's a real thing that happened here, and
Yeah.
not just like, oh well, cause and effect, but no, something.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was part of why the edict was pronounced in the first place, because there was this incoming celestial phenomenon. So that would be interesting to go that route and go the unexpected, right?
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. In fact, I don't hate the idea of mixing 1, 5, and 6.
There you go.
There's no reason why all 3 things can't be true.
Sure.
So, for anyone watching, that's one thing that we do like to do here is when we get things that we like, even if they're separated. ChatGPT has been pretty great about mixing things together and coming up with a good alternative. So let's see what happens when we do that.
And we'll still have the opportunity to give some information or some details on it when we look at that. So the best part of any of this stuff is we're not really locking in anything. We're just using this to prompt our thinking a little bit too.
Yeah. So mixing 1, 5, and 6 creates a hauntingly perfect successor to the Empire's fall, a period where grief, greed, and wonder intertwine. Let's weave them together into a single event, one that captures both the political and mystical consequences of the world trying to reassemble itself from divine silence. So now they're calling it the Binding Wars and the Weeping Sky. That makes sense. And it's giving us a date of 73 to 184.
Length of time.
Yeah, 73 years for that to kind of trigger. That seems a little late to me. The Era. Oh, this is new. The title, The Era. The
Cool.
Age of Unbound Thrones. That's pretty good, but this is new. I'm surprised by that. Okay. So after the Emperor vanished, the Empire's magic unraveled. The world did not simply decay; it reacted. The ley lines that once pulsed with stabilizing presence lashed out like living nerves. Storms of luminous rain called the Weeping Sky swept across the continent for 13 days, sending the ground with fragments of shimmering residue known as the Tears of Dawn. From those tears, power was born anew. Warlords, scholars, and the formal imperial officers sought to harness this raw, ungoverned energy. They began forging binding control the surviving fragments. The struggle for these bindings erupted into chaos. The binding force. That's great. When the storms ended, 12 leaders emerged victorious, each having found one of the surviving 12 key lay acres, ancient sites of imperial power. They became known as the 12 houses, self-proclaimed heirs to the fallen empire, each ruling a fraction dominion. But their unity was a lie. Each house claimed to act in remembrance of the empire while secretly plotting to seize all 12 acres and restore them in their name. I mean, like we mentioned, this is kind of as expected.
Yeah, I like though that it's grounded in something that we just, instead of it just being like 12 houses came up, that we grounded it in some kind of King of the Hill style
Yeah.
control the point. Like here, as long as I have control over this, my house, it gives them some legitimacy. And I could see, from that, these houses establish faiths and establish, bloodlines that become impressive and maybe have, maybe things that the magical rain and stuff, that the bindings and stuff, those things are imbued upon the offspring of these houses or something. Lots of really cool stuff you could do with it.
Yeah, it brings to mind a couple of questions. The first one is, are these houses, is it an elf house and a dwarf house and a human house, a dragonborn house, etc., or are all of them sort of metropolitan in their own way?
Sure. Yeah, that's
one thing we may want to think about there.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was considering is, with each of these 12 points of magic, would they be different kinds of magic? Would one of them be illusion magic and the other be evocation?
That would make for an interesting, in regards to the more ancestry-based houses too. Would it make sense for a dragonborn to have something that's more evocation-based, or where elves have something that's maybe more illusion or something like that? That would be a fascinating perspective to hold.
Yeah, and they would be maybe a little guarded about their magic. So if
Yeah.
you were an evocation wizard or something, if you want to go to the illusion school, that's probably not going to happen.
I do like that. Yeah, I do like that. It gives an interesting flair to it, and there is something to be said about houses with specific styles and stuff like that. That's a lot of, I mean, it's a common thing, right? In a lot of literature today. Even starting with things like Harry Potter and moving into some of the other upside down magic and things that my kids read, that it's magic in specific styles, but people like that. There's something about being a part of that. So it would make for an interesting world to play in, right? And be I'm an evocation wizard. Well, you're likely then part of this house or connected to this house in some way, which gives a nice grounding for characters to develop out of.
Yeah, and maybe cantrips or some simple first level spells, no problem. But when you get into
Right.
higher levels, you just have no idea how it works or something like that, except for the one that you studied in a lot. Yeah, I kind of think that.
Like that. Yeah.
So, but if that's the case, then I wonder if there should actually be 12 houses, or if we should make the number of houses the number of schools of magic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember how many schools of magic there actually are.
Yeah, I'm not sure myself. The numbers sound good, especially since there were 12 emperors and the 13th is the problem. It's kind of what we're rolling with, but I don't think
There are
it's necessary
8.
that the houses follow that same numerology.
There are apparently 8. Although apparently there's also 12 schools of magic. There's also some. There actually is some expansions to 12. So it depends on the lore. D&D it's 8, but 12 is a viable
Okay.
option as well. It just adds force, dimensional, shadow, elemental, and chronomancy as some separate schools. Um, so it's possible. There are different. It just really all depends on what. Um,
Well, that would. I mean, if that fixes our numerology, I think that's excellent.
yeah, it can definitely be done. I'm even seeing like 13 schools of magic as well. That's a different build.
That's
So
excellent. So yeah,
right,
13. That's almost perfect.
right. We could do a 13. 13 would be abjuration. Alchemy has its own apparently in this version of it. Artifice, so like artificers, conjuration, divination, dunamancy, which is entropy, gravity, and time. Enchantment, evocation, illusion, necromancy, omnimancy, which is
All of them.
no, the fundamental manipulation of the fabric of existence and believed to be used in great feats of creation, change, and destruction.
Oh, so that would be 13.
Right. Yeah, and maybe that's a hidden school, right? Prognostication, it's simply known as prophecy, which I don't know how that's different from divination, but that would be different from divination, which is more secret, long forgotten secrets. So that's, yeah, um, there are different ways of doing that.
That sounds to me like it's going to be a little bit complicated, and that maybe you just want to stick with the primary schools.
Yeah, and you could, I mean, even if you did the primary 8, you could always do, maybe some of the houses have a a blending of those or something.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe pre-fall, all 8 were wearing underwear, and that's sort of the theme of the period.
Yeah.
Because the emperor was afraid that the 13th heir would, if he had that power, he would misuse it.
Yeah, it's something that we could continue to develop out, like what does that look like, but it's definitely I like the idea of the houses being centered around the magic, and then maybe even having some specific ancestry connived, tied to it.
Hmm.
Um, it just would really be interesting. And it doesn't even mean that later on we wouldn't end up having, some kind of break of this, anyways. But
Cool. All right. Let's see where it goes from here. So, legends and superstitions born from the weeping sky. So, the sky weeps before the emperor's love. Immediately, the 13-day silver ring as the heavens mourn the emperor's lost heart. A divine reflection of his forbidden love. Tears of the dawn, the shimmering stones left behind by the rain, God's magic, Okai still used as currency, catalyst or heirlooms. Some say they still hum the Emperor's voice. 13th house, a myth whispered among commoners that there once was a 13th clay anchor sealed away because it was bound not by a king but by a commoner. Unknowingly, perhaps he put himself.
I like that.
Yeah, I actually like all 3 of them, and
Yeah.
legends and superstitions are not a monolith. Like, a lot of things creep up about why things happen or whatever. So I think having all 3 of them as beliefs that occurred inside makes sense. Oh, in fact, yeah, it's not even asking us to choose. It's just saying these are the legends that came.
Yeah.
So I agree
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
all 3 of those.
I particularly like the 13th house having that 12th, and we're already playing into that 13. It's just, yeah, I like doing that.
And sorry, this just gave me another thought that maybe that 12th emperor that we've been thinking of, what if he actually was the 13th? Although, emperor records would probably be kept pretty well, so maybe not. But maybe he thought that.
Oh, like he accidentally, yeah.
The world would be easier for him to conquer. Well, he already had it conquered, so what would be the point in that? Never mind. I think we'll leave that alone. Okay, see. Consequences. Politically, the world's power consolidated into 12 houses, feudal, rival, and each bound to a relic of the site. Magical binding became new arcane art. Dangerous, deeply personal, region specific. Cultural myths of tears, love, betrayal, themes of poetry, and the original centuries when the sky leaps. Thrones fall in proper. Tone connection reinforces the world's mysterious layer tone. Truths behind rain. No, truths buried in rain light. Dynasties built by misunderstood power. I have never seen the word rain light in my life. Okay. So we got the details: 13 days of silver rain, birth, tears of the dawn. Competing warlords fought the cannon fires with magic running packs called bindings. 12 victors rose, found in the 12 great houses, each tied to a anchor of immense power. 13 anchor remains only a legend. Alright, so let me get your thoughts on this. I'd like to change the date from 0 to 73.
Oh, like the initial, the number 1 date.
Even though, so 0 stays here, the empires fall, but then the binding wars in the weakened sky. This occurs starting at 0 and going.
I see 0 to 73. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So this is kind of like a point in time, and then
Yep.
following.
Yep.
073. And then the schools of magic thing. I think we'll have it rework that out. Anything else?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Is that what they call them? I don't remember shards or something with the bindings. Okay, keep going up. Yeah, but there was more information.
Oh, lay anchors.
Okay, yeah. Ancient sites of imperial power. And do we also want to note that we want them to be tied to some kind of race ancestry? like dwarves, elves, dragonborn, that kind of stuff.
So originally I was thinking it'd probably be one or the other, either magical schools or races.
Hmm.
I mean,
So it
which
was once a yeah, so it was once a unified world, so that probably wouldn't have has been so pronounced before, right? Because people would have just kind of coexisted. So I guess that makes more sense.
yeah. When we find whatever the evocation one is, I think that maybe the leader of that or the primary race, maybe dragon. You know, we can mess with that a little bit on the back end.
Sure.
School of magic. At least twice. So, so I've got here, each of the 12 houses has very limited, maybe one or two schools of magic they're capable of learning and using based on the lay anchors they have. Give us a table of the 12 houses and schools of magic they're capable of using. Make sure to include every school of magic at least once. Anything else? Any changes you think would be alright? Lock that in.
No, I think that's worth giving it a shot.
Perfect refinement, Legend Keeper. Okay, from the date, immediate aftermath, that's good. Alright, so here's our 12 houses. Okay. Alrane. Sunspire Monolith. Oh, good, it even gave us the lay anchor names. This is great. Arid Highlands, where Dawnlight never fully fades. There's evocation. Masters of radiant energy and destructive light. Shows with sunfire and banish the twilight. Good, good, good. Yeah, this is excellent. Healing magic and nature druidic magic. Fireplace, psionic, enchantment, and songcraft.
So it did jump out of some of the eight schools,
Yeah,
which is fine.
yeah, I'm happy with that. I think. What I was really, I guess, worried about was that. Let's change some stuff.
That's a kind of all right. I kind of like that it got rid of some of that information.
Yeah. Oh, we don't know. Okay.
Yeah, it was describing some of the locations a little bit more, which I'm okay that we don't have as much on that. But it did change things. House Vareth is now an evocation, the Obsidian Tower, an ancient volcanic conduit. I like that. Masters of Flame, Lightning, and Raw Destruction Force. Their magic burns quickly and consumes reagents violently. So that's kind of neat. It looks like it kind of brought in the magic a little bit too. You got mostly schools. Nature magic is not technically its own school, but that's not a problem adding that. What else do we have past House Delara? Evocation, they just gave it a flavor on that one. Abjuration, Conjuration, Aerial. Interesting. Divine Channeling, also technically not its own school, but kind of interesting to make it a clerical one. And then Shadow is also technically not its own. And then I love the fact that they threw an Unknown Forbidden into the 13th house. Or what is it? Is that a 13th house actually, or is that the 12th?
It says the 13th gate.
Yeah,
So maybe like
but we have to count them though.
7, 12. There are 12.
Okay, so it's just 12. Makes me want a 13th now
Yeah.
as the but whatever.
I mean, that can be this one is a good 13th. Maybe we need a 12th. You know.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know what
Do
the
we
shadow
want to?
and necrotic is. Maybe we just get that back to necromancy.
I don't know. I use a lot of like the shadow, the dark arts, right, kind of thing. I've used there's the shadow realm in D&D where it's all the realm of shadows. Um, so I could see that. It's something that actually I was looking up something that I was talking about the 8 schools and then 5 that you could add on top of that. Chronomancy was one. Shadow magic right there. It's an illusion necrotic blend. And then artifice, psionics, and then void / null magic, which is like anti-magic entropy. So I think that's pretty. This gives a pretty good. It stayed close to the 8 schools of magic, which is nice.
Yeah. And where it departs, I think it's a good departure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it jumped into divine channeling and druidic magic. That wasn't bad. So.
Before I saw the divine channeling, I was thinking, well, maybe divine magic is spread everywhere, and it's not governed by the anchors. But I like it both ways.
Yeah. I find it interesting that they made it the site of the emperor's first coronation. Like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And the fact that basically all of our clerics and paladins would all be coming from this one place, that's kind of interesting and fun.
Right. I mean, again, this is early in the history, so by the time, like, you could play it this time, right? Like, you could certainly play at any point in the history of any of these worlds that we're creating, right? But it may be after 10 events, this has got muddied. This is how it started, but maybe after 10 events, this whole house thing gets muddied. We'll see. Maybe there's intermarrying between all of these, and that allows for divine channeling to step in from House Kalen to House Fenrir. All of a sudden that starts happening, or whatever. That kind of stuff could happen. So.
I mean, you could definitely see alliances occurring.
Yeah.
Cool. 12 houses are jealously territorial. No magic school may be practiced outside its realm without sanction. Cross training is nearly impossible. Many reject one attunement. This is something that we discussed. That it's also recognized that the case. Magic has become feudalized. It's not a birthright of all, but a function of one ownership of the bloodline. And 13th gate remains mythic. The idea of 13th gate echoes the Emperor's vanished legacy. Alright.
Still do think we need that 12th house, though. I feel like that they just added the whole idea that the 13th gate is mysterious, and it feels like that's the 13th house, right?
Yeah. So, without replacing, because I really like
Right. Right. Without changing anything.
give us one more house. No, try again.
Yeah. Maybe tell it this is actually we want this to actually be the 12th house. We already say that. Tell it that. Oh, what's the name of? Go back and look at the current house and let that be the 13th. The House Solmer. Solmire? I don't know.
Yeah.
That should be the 13th house. So that it knows, like, oh, okay, you already decided on the 13th house. We're just getting a normal, getting a normie house.
Yeah. So how's Aramore Geomancy restoration? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, nice. I don't think we had restoration before, so I'm glad that I was thinking about that. I like it. Mending stone and bone.
Is that what it said?
It was close to that.
Oh,
It was
nice.
like master of stone, bone, and flesh mending, but I was like stone and bone.
I dig it. Okay. Uh, let's see.
Wow, they really went deep into that one.
Yeah, not necessary. Okay, but we got what we
Right.
need. Oh,
Jeez, oh Pete.
this is a really good table though. It gives us
Yeah.
just the bare bones. This is good. All right. 12 houses stand complete. Perfect circle is sanctioned power with House Salmir always at its shadowed edge. Okay. Third historical event.
Yeah, let's move on to the next event. Or shall we pause and create alliances and do all kinds of stuff? So, I mean, you really could, if you wanted, you really could dive into this stuff, but hey, we're moving on.
Yeah, yeah. Later on in the World Weaver process, we create factions, so that may be a good time for that.
Sure.
Kind of decide our alliances and whatnot. This is good. All right. Okay, so with the Empire's fall and the binding wars behind us, the 12 houses moving forward from chaos, it's time to explore the third historical event where the world begins to take on its mature shape. This is often the moment the shattered realms become truly shattered. When politics replaces survival, faith splinters anew, and the consequences of magic as power begin to spiral. Let's build the seed table first and weave your role of choice into the plan event. It doesn't. Oh, turn returns to Jeff.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking at first it was sending it to Legend Keeper, but I'm
Yeah,
glad
that's
that it says. All right, so I rolled 4. Let's see what that is. The Echo Rebellion. A coalition of commoners rose against the rule of the 12, attempting to break the bindings and reclaim free magic. Oh, okay, okay. I'm not opposed to that. Was anything else stand out to me? Like, ooh. Let's see, the Shadow Concord. Secret 3 houses made pacts with entities beneath the Hollow Maw. No idea what that is. The whispers of corruption and betrayal. The house, let's see, the silence of Kalen, the House of Faith, declared that gods had gone silent. Divine magic faltered for a generation. The War of Glass and Stone. Rival magic between illusion and geomancy houses shattered a continent-spanning city, turning it to glass dust. Eh. The Pact of the 12 just seems boring. I kind of like the Echo Rebellion. I mean, that's what I rolled. And I like the idea of commoners trying to rise up against the rule after several years of all this happening. Now, do we want all of these events to be on the heels of each other? So like this is setting it right now at potentially 200.
I think that makes sense. You know, when we get to 73, all the houses sort of settle. They get a chance to
And then we
regroup
have
a
some
little, you
time.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we
Okay.
see how poorly they do it. The Echo Rebellion.
Yeah. All right. I would like the Echo Rebellion. I'm
Alright.
not sure why it's called the Echo Rebellion, but let's see what it comes with and see maybe
Yeah.
why Echo. Maybe it's just its obsession with music and sound and stuff.
That's a perfect turning point for the Shattered Realms. And the first event, Empire's Fall toward Immunity. The Binding Wars birth the 12. This third event, the Echo Rebellion, reveals the first great attempt to rise against them. It's a story of memory, equality, and hubris. In a world forbidden from prophecy or illusion, becomes one of echoed truth, not destined truth.
Okay. Like okay.
22. Again, that's a little late, I think. Maybe.
Yeah. I think at first it was going to be like something like 200 and I think that seems a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah, it's a 200 to 400. So it did put it in that range, but
Oh, somewhere in that range. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe we push it back to an earlier age. All right. So what do we got here? The historical event, the Echo Rebellion, the Age of Unheard Voices is the era title, which is cool. That's a cool name. And so we summary: as centuries passed after the Binding Wars, the 12 Houses ruled in relative stability, bound by bloodline, land, and ley. But for the common folk, that stability became a cage. All right. Magic had become hereditary, a privilege confined to the noble veins and anchored lands. The once living power of the lands was now monopolized, taxed, and worshipped like property. Then, in deep slums beneath the silent archive, whispers began to stir, not words, but resonant echoes. Untrained, unbound people began to hear the magic hum again in their bones, and those echoes demanded freedom. So, here's what I love about this: the uh, the emperor became a commoner, right?
uh-huh.
And now we have magic stirring in the common people. And so there's something cool about like what what is what does that mean? Like, are they the true, like, where it begins to stir? Is that the true empire itself? So
Or
that's just
the emperor sees where things are going, maybe doesn't like it so much, so he starts imbuing
mm,
commoners with a little bit of magic power that
right.
they didn't have before.
Yeah,
There's a lot of yeah.
I like it.
Uh-huh. Well,
So the movement,
last sentence there, untrained, unbound people began to hear the magic hum again in their
right?
bones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the dichotomy we've got set up here, where it's like, a world where magic is locked into a very specific, they talked about monopolize and tax and worship like property, like it's owned by the elite, right? And those that don't have it are now beginning to get it. And what does that create? um, it's echoed in mm, different historical events in many worlds, not only our own, but in many worlds where this you have this clash of the elite and the impoverished. Very cool.
I dig it.
So what's the origins? Origins of the rebellion. Movement began in secret gatherings called choruses. Ugh, don't love that. Dang you, music! Small circles of listeners who claimed that they could hear the remnants of the Emperor's last heartbeat beneath the earth. The leader of the chorus was known only as Alar. That is a problem that I see in this in ChatGPT a lot, as they like to name things Alar, Alara, Alaris. Very very common um, in my experience. So I would want to change that. Yeah. The leader of the first chorus, known as Alara of the Nameless, rumored to be a descendant of the Emperor's forbidden love. That was kind of what we were kind of talking about a little bit, is that there could be a heritage there too. Their slogan: "We will not be silent. We will not be silent stones beneath the feet of thrones." I love that. Within a decade, the choruses grew into armies, peasants, unbound mages, and scholars rose across the realms to break the bindings and release magic back to the people. Yeah, I mean that's really cool. There's a few things that I'd like to change. I'm not a big fan of the choruses. I don't like Alar. So those would be two things that I'd want to eventually change. I think the choruses is just too much like music stuff. And I'm afraid that if we get into it, it's gonna be like, and then they sang together, and that's how. And we're like, no, we're not trying to create a musical.
Yeah, yeah. I don't hate the poetry though. We will not
Yeah.
be silent stones with the feet of thrones.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't.
Their slogan's amazing.
Yeah. So then we got the Echo Chorus, Free the Lay Magic, Global Control, Sabotage Lay Anchors, Forged Wild Bindings with No Land Land. Initially successful, but their unstable magic tore through their ranks. 12 houses. Okay, so they're trying to preserve magic order in their dominion. United temporarily under the Pact of Silence, suppressing rebel communication, ultimately victorious, but at catastrophic cost, hundreds of anchors were destabilized. There's only 12.
Maybe they've made new ones since? Mini anchors? Sub anchors?
Perhaps. So we got some consequences here. Want to read through those?
Yes. All right. Key consequences. Category magical. For the first time, magic bled into the wilds again. Uncontrolled regions of feral lay still twist geography and minds to this day. Cultural. The choruses became martyrs, and folk heroes' songs of their echoes persist even where mention of them is banned. Political. The houses tightened their rule but fractured internally. Some sympathized with the rebellion's ideals. Religious. The Church of Kalen interpreted the echoes as divine punishment for hoarding power, leading to a brief era of confession where nobles publicly repented. Geographic. Entire regions like the Plain of Glass and Whispering Vale became echo zones where sound distorts and the air sings faintly at dawn. Ugh, we just don't want music, guys.
Yeah.
They just can't help themselves.
As per our limits, we defined.
Limits.
Alright, notable figures. We got LR the Nameless, Archmage Vareth Dorn led the house's counterattack during using fire bindings.
It is going so deep into this.
Yeah. A little bit too much, maybe.
Yeah.
Seraphine Aramore, healer who refused to fight, turned her house to a refuge. Oh, I like Seraphine.
Oh, that's cool.
It's the Stone's mercy, her bloodline maker founded the first neutral city.
Interesting.
Oh my gosh, yeah, just so much. Okay. Let's go ahead and give it this prompt.
Yeah, I wonder if we need to like tell it to tone back on the details.
Yeah, and now it's gotten confused about who's who. So
Right.
I think Legend Keeper is the entire process instead of a person. That's fun. Okay. Rename the Echo Chorus as another nameless into terms rooted in earthly resonant ancient imagery. Resonant Rebellion. First leader is known as Alar, the unnamed line.
Yeah. It just didn't. Right.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think it's given us too much detail, honestly. Like at this point in the story in our creation, like we really were looking for more high level, like that chart, right? And now they changed it from Echo Rebellion to Resonant Rebellion, and yeah, I don't know. It's gotten a little off track for some reason.
Maybe that's not bad, actually. Maybe it does take 200 years for a rebellion
to really. I mean, if we're talking about generations and stuff too, so yeah. Will you have it change it back to the Echo Rebellion though? I don't like the Resonant Rebellion.
Yeah.
I liked Echo Rebellion. I just didn't like all the song metaphors that they threw in there. But I do like this little short, like little blurb that we got. I think that's what we ultimately have been going for. Um, I like the extra prompts that it's given us, but we just really want to keep it simple.
Echo Rebellion.
Cool.
Got a good timeline. Got um, two new events. I think
Yeah.
it's shaping up. Um, yeah, our custom GPT is starting to hallucinate a little bit, and you have to keep it on track, which is a little bit frustrating. But overall, I think we'll get it back on track.
Yeah, I think that's final thing to say, hey, let's cut down the details. It looks like it's starting to really like, oh, okay, yeah, you guys just want this little table, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Is just a little table with some information, and then later on, like you said, we can expand upon that. It's really interesting to see what it's beginning to expand on. I like what it's doing with that. It's too much for what we're trying to do at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we're on the right path here. Do we um, do we want to imagine at this point and maybe add it to the record about is it the Emperor who kind of seeded the Echo Rebellion, or is it his heir? Maybe the 13th heir has seeded the Echo Rebellion. If all of
Yeah,
them.
I think that gets into that level of detail again that maybe we don't want to get into quite yet, and maybe that's what was causing us problem is we were getting maybe a little bit too detailed. Like in the last time we ran this, we just took things right, and we were able to get the chart, but this time we've gone a little bit too deep maybe, and it's now like getting it off track. And so we need to find like that common balance in between where it's like, okay, yeah, we got some information. I mean, we kind of talked about it, and they kind of mentioned it a little bit. I guess there was one spot where it talked about the LR, the nameless, being the offspring of the emperor, and so it's kind of picked up some of that. But I don't know. It's hard to say because like if we don't put something now, will we forget next time we come back to it, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, I think that's probably all we got time for today. Um, if anybody's watching this VOD, we have you can visit the Notion site, and we'll have all of this information up there. That's you can visit that at bit.ly/Brewhouse Tavern. Just like this. And that'll take you to a Notion page, and you can look for the setting of the Shattered Realms, and look through these and take what you want. And we'll continue adding to that, and probably at some point we're going to need to summarize and limit what we're actually getting out of ChatGPT and what we want to actually be in the world. So we'll start doing that very soon. Any final thoughts here, Jeff?
Just I'm liking where it's shaping. I feel like we're getting a good history that's building upon itself, which is a nice benefit of this. Is it's starting to think through those things. It's giving you some options that are pretty standard, and then some that are a little out of the box, which is a nice blend of where you might want to go. So you have some, it expands your thinking a little bit more to say, oh, I could just have 12 houses, but I could have 12 houses with this or that. So I think it's just helping to expand what your maybe initial thoughts would be.
Yep. I really like this world. I like you were saying that we can jump in anywhere in this timeline, and there's some interesting stuff going on.
Yeah.
We can be part of Binding Wars or the Aftermath, or we can be part of the Echo Rebellion, and all of our player characters are commoners, or maybe one of them is not.
Right.
Good tension there. So yeah, I'm digging it. All right. Look, join us next week. Same time, same channel.
Hey, thanks everybody.